Hey guys, welcome to Module 2. This module, this lecture lab will be a consolidated effort, so it's not just going to be a lecture slash lab. So I'll do a little bit of talking, then what I'll do is I'll pull over the Visual Studios, we'll walk through some code and all that great fun stuff, okay? So I think it's a good way to kind of really liven this environment up. So let me make this a little bit bigger. I'm not going to go in presentation mode just because of the stuff I'm working on. So this week is, last week, week one, just a fallback on what we talked about. Last week was just getting our environments up and running. Hypothetically, and the reason I have the two environments going, local and remote. Remote is a little quirky at the moment, and it should work for most of the time. But to be honest with you, I thought it was important that we had a backup and did it locally, so that we didn't run into any problems and we could kind of streamroll through this whole process. And me personally, I think it's a lot easier and more adaptable and more efficient to be able to keep it local, so that you could write code and test it versus having to, keep pushing up the FileZilla, go out to the website, does it work, does it not work? Having it locally, you could test things a lot quicker, I think. All right, so the other thing is, so that's part of it. So this week we're just going to start learning how to just kind of write some code. We'll talk about query strings. We'll, I'll kind of go down to the objectives there. And these are high level, but, we'll talk about query strings. We'll talk about how to do it without a query string, how to do it within using a post, like we talk about a get and post. We'll talk about how to do that. We'll also get into we're getting into conditional statements like if and else, nested loops, so forth. And what we're going to do moving forward for each week. So this is our first real week of writing some code. I want you to think of a theme of what you want to develop in this course, because what I want to do is keep consistent on that theme moving forward. So my theme will be wine. So mine will be primarily wine. So let's say that yours is, let's say you're a truck guy. You like trucks. We'll make it truck oriented. Let's say that yours is about an airport, or maybe it's about a ticket app. Keep it consistent across the board. That's important because at the end of the day, you're building an app that from scratch and to finish, and it's going to have one theme versus multiple themes. Plus, you can use that as a portfolio as well. All right, so talk about all this here, just kind of go through the objectives. Learn about syntax rules, PHP statements, when you use a semicolon, and so forth. And data types at this point, you should learn about this in Introduction to Programming. So the key thing is Introduction to Programming. You learn about JavaScript. This is PHP. We will focus in some Node.js toward the end of the course, but primarily is PHP. But the integer, the double, the boolean, the string, the array, object, etc. These are all the same across the board, and that's what's nice about having different languages. The data types are all the same, so it shouldn't be a learning curve. And just kind of going through this integer values. When you use a negative and an integer value, more or less, we're just going to use whole numbers. Double values, we could use a float, as you can see here. The Boolean is just a refresher, true or false, whether you want something on or off, 0. If you go on your iPhone or your Android and you click a service on or off, it could be your Wi-Fi on or off. Like, for example, you go to airplane mode. So think of that being a true or false value. Provide it on or off, yes or no, 1 or 0. 1 being on, 0 being off, or false. String values, string, which is single quotes. Once again, learn that introduction programming. I'm not going to get into that because I think it is more or less just a refresher. We're talking about single quotes and double quotes, and we'll talk about why we want to use them and why we don't want to use it. Moving on. So declaring variables are a little bit different. So you're used to, typing in var name of something equals something. And PHP, they use a dollar sign in front of it. So it's a dollar sign, the name of your variable equals, and you still have the same sequence with the semicolon. The only thing that's different here is you're using a dollar sign instead of saying var or something or whatever. So that's the only difference here. Rules for creating variable names. It must be case sensitive. Containing letters, numbers, and underscores. Same thing as the introduction of programming. I can't have special characters. Can't begin with a digit or two underscores. We should know that. Can't use names that are reserved by PHP. So just same thing with JavaScript. And then all variable names are a dollar sign. So this should be really smooth at this point. How to declare a constant. Constant is a variable that can't be modified. Define. Use the word define. So you could do it this way. So if you want to define something like, let's say you're building out business rules or some sort like that, and this is something that you start off with, then fine. But you want to follow the methodology. When you use HTTP and GET methods, so when a request for a page that gets data from a database server, when a request can be executed multiple times. So actually, I think we probably want to kind of go into a little bit of some of this stuff right here, because we're talking about expressions and operators. I think that's what we're going here. So we want to get a little involved. So let's kind of skip gears a little bit here and start pulling up the code. So to follow along, I'd make sure you have PHP installed. Make sure that you have your library, so you have a web server locally, if you're doing it locally, which I would recommend. And what we're going to do here is we're just going to create something simple. At this point, we're not looking to do much of anything. We just want to understand the basics of putting something on the screen and writing some code. So one of the things I didn't do and I should have did is, I'm going to pause this for a second. I'll explain what I did in a moment here. Increase the size of my screen, but I could actually do that here, so it shouldn't be a problem. The only difference is the website is going to be a little different, so it'll be actually I could increase that as well now I think about it. So let me pull over this site here. Jesus. So we want to, yeah. So that's where our thing's gonna be at, our local host, and I think we have something in place right now. So yeah, we learned that in week 1. Okay, we have our course here, so we're good. All right, so first thing we want to do is we just want to create something simple with some PHP. So one of the things that you'll learn is, so we'll create a new file. And one of the things that you learned is, when you did JavaScript, and then you did HTML, and then you embedded a JavaScript in there. So we could call this index.php. So we could call it PHP. PHP is a little bit different. So, and what you do is you split your code off. So, for example, you have your PHP at the top, and you have your HTML at the bottom. So what I could do right here is I could type in less than and then put a question mark and type in PHP. So you see it's automatically saying, do you want PHP? And then I'm going to put a dollar sign, question mark, and a greater than. That right there allows me to write PHP code here. Okay. And then if I do my HTML, I could come down here and just do my HTML. So we could put a heading, we could do a title. We'll just call it first PHP page. Perfect. And then we'll close our heading out, just like that. And then we need a body, just like anything else. So let's do our body. Perfect. It's over there. And we'll close our body out. All right. So now we need something in here. So right now I'm just going to say h2 hello world. Just like that. So let's go ahead and save it. And then we can test it. And I think, so we have localhost. It is labs, I think. No. Let me see the location. I think it's class labs. Then I gotta find a directory. Class labs and M2. And index.php. All right, cool. So as you see here, hello world, it popped up. So it has that information there. So that's good. It's a start. So what we're going to do is, let me see if I can find something to give you an example. So let's go to Google. So let's do a search on, what do I want to search? Oh, since my theme is going to be wine, I'm going to say wine regions in California. Okay. So here's the thing. You notice this thing at the top up here, which has this information here. I'm going to copy all this out. Yep. And I'm going to start a document and show you what I'm talking about. All right, so we're going to make this big so you can see it. So you notice here where it's saying it has the website, it says search question mark. So question mark, what that means is you're starting a query parameter. So you want to use your URL to do a query parameter search. So it does question mark, I want to say $, Q equals wine plus region plus in California. So Google's is going to look a lot different than what I'm going to do. My query parameter is going to be very simple to learn the basics. They're using a lot of this stuff right here, this decoded information, which is using a string that is captured and stored and monitored and all that stuff, and we're not doing any of that. But it's a way for them to pull up information. So it's a way for them to decode what they're doing, then or encode and then decode and pull the information back up, because when we did that, it pulled up a bunch of stuff. Okay, so we're going to do something similar. So what we're going to do up here is we're going to type in here, we're going to say, we're going to put a variable in, and let's put here wine region, and we're going to put equals $_ get, because we want to get this. We'll do a open close bracket, we'll do a tick, and I'll call it wine region, and I'll semicolon. And what I'm going to do here, I'm going to be lazy, I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to paste it below. And I'm going to change the variable name to wine name, so winery name. And then what I'll put here, I'll put winery, well, let's put let's do wine type instead. Let's do it that way. Perfect. Wine type and wine region. All right. So I save that, and then I want to display the values at the bottom. What I found. Okay, what we found up here, what we're looking for. So what I could do is I'll change this and say winery regions, and then I'll come down here and then I'll type in a P for paragraph, and then I'll put winery region, and then I'm going to put some PHP code in here. So I'm going to use the word echo, which is a way to print, and I'm going to say echo the variable name, which is, I'm going to grab this right here, copy this, and paste it, and do a semicolon, question mark, greater than, and P for paragraph, just like that. We're going to do the same thing below. So once again, I'm going to cheat and copy it. And I'm going to paste it. And instead of wine region, we're going to do wine type. Just like that. And we're going to save it. And we're going to go back to that site. And so as soon as I refresh it, you notice here it says winery region and winery region. Okay, maybe I should have put winery type. Alrighty. All right, so now refresh it. All right, so we have winery region and type. Now we don't have anything there because we haven't did a search yet. So what I need to do here is come up here, and then I need to type in wine region, just like that right there is, equals, and then do double quotes, and I'll put let's say New York. And then I'll do and winery type equals, and I'll say Riesling, and hit enter. As soon as I do that, you notice that, oh, one of them worked and one didn't. So let's do this. I know what I did wrong. So let's do this. Take the ticks out. We don't need to put ticks in here. And we could put, oh, I put winery type. It should be wine type, because we want to go by this name right here. So do wine type, and once again we'll take the ticks out, quotations, because we just want it to be like this, and hit enter. All right, why is it not working? Wine region equals New York, and is it plus? All right. No, wine region equals New York, and what did I do? Let's see. I got it right. Wine region equals New York, so let's do this. And wine type. Let's do winery type. Let's do this just for the heck of it. Let's keep everything consistent. So let's copy this, paste it, and this could be Y because we have these different names and they should be the same. So let's save it. Winery type equals, and I'll do Riesling, and hit enter. Okay, so as you see here, this URL, and I'll put it up here real quick. That, maybe we'll put another document we have going. So let's go back to that document. So we've seen what they had. Oops, 1H. All right, so we have wine region equals New York and winery type equals Riesling. And when we did that, it pulled back that information for us. What I had to do is change it. So we have the variable name, and we give it a, think of it as a placeholder ID. I say it gives it an ID, some type of ID. And then we take this variable and display it on here, because all this is the variable grabbing this. We could call it anything here, but what we're interested in is this guy right here and echoing it down here. So this is grabbing the variable, and we're just displaying it on the screen. So we're not doing anything fancy. We're just taking the search here and outputting on the screen. Now, if we were doing some type of search engine, then maybe we'd throw it in our database, and then database would do a query and pull back results, and then we display the stuff on the screen. So that's a way that we could do it, is that way. So if you ever go into Google, and so if I go in here and type the same thing in, and I put New York Riesling, it's basically going to build a query string up here. It's going to do new plus New York. It's going to say, okay, Finger Lakes, that's where I probably want to go. So it pulls up some information for us. And that's pretty much it right there on that first session, is learning how to do that. It's a good start to just get familiar with that. If you have questions on it, just let me know. The next part of it is we want to start thinking about some other things that we want to do with it. Like say if we wanted to use calculations in it, we could use calculations for whatever purpose. We could put numbers up there and have it do some type of math or whatever, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. So one of the things is you can add more information in here. So let's say that we want to add a third one. So we could paste this here, and maybe now we have winery type, and now we want to think about winery name. Okay, so now we vary it down, and here's what I'll do is I'll make the names different. Like I said, it shouldn't have to be the same because all we're worried about is this. And then we'll paste this here, or copy this, and we'll paste this here. So what's the name of the winery? And we just want to copy that. All right, so winery name equals something. So now we save it, and we're just gonna add to what we have here, and we'll just say and winery name equals Finger Lakes. GR Dill is my favorite. And maybe I was wrong. JR Dill, winery name. Oh, you know what? Let's do this out of curiosity. I think I was wrong, but okay, no, wine name. So we have to do the name of this value right here. Has to be your query string. This just captures it. So you want to capture that. So we put wine name equals JR Dill. It puts it in here. So these are our search criteria that we're looking for. So this is how to do it in a query string. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to talk about how to do it. Shortly, we're going to talk about how to do it differently, like in a form, not that fancy. Now we'll try a fancier one. Let me think. All right. So that's a good start. All right, so let's close that and save it. And now we're gonna do a new file, and I will call this form.php. We're gonna need two files. And the other file that we're gonna have is I'll call it output.php. Okay. So form is the start, and output is the latter part of it. So we'll start with the form. We'll do a question mark PHP. I'm not going to have any PHP happening on the form because we just want it to be in php.php, but ultimately we want it to just be a HTML form to start off with, nothing fancy. So then we're going to do HTML, and we're going to do a heading, and we're going to call it a form. And then we're going to do another heading, and we'll start a body. Perfect. And within the body, then we're going to do a form. We're going to say form action. So we have to give it an action. What do we want to call? So we want to take our values from this screen and pass these variables over to another screen. And on that screen, we have to write some PHP to grab those values and display them. So we'll do our output.php, and then we'll call method equals get, because we're not posting anything, we're just having it grab the information and do something with it. Okay. All right. So we'll do a label, and we'll call it wine. What we do, wine region, label, perfect. If I can spell right, there we go. And then we need a text box, so we'll say input type equals text, and name equals wine region. Now, I'm gonna make sure the names are consistent with what we had before. We'll put a BR here, and I'll copy and paste them in a second here. So now what we need to do is repeat that. So we'll copy it, paste it, and do it again. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go back to my index and grab the same thing. So we have wine region, winery type. So let's do this, wine region, winery type. Perfect. And then we want wine name. Perfect. So we'll put type and wine name. Oops. And wine, we'll put winery name. And we'll just keep it wine name. It's fine. All right. So we got that information in there. So let's see what it looks like real quick. So this is a form. So now I'm going to copy this real quick, come over here, and then we're going to take that out and do form.php. And now we have 3 things in here. I'm not really too concerned how mumbo jumbo it is. This is just for learning possibilities for now. If we wanted to do something, we could put a table in there and, you know, table it up or something. If we wanted to, we could put think. I think that would work. Let's see. Yeah, it would create a space. And then if you wanted to eyeball it down, what you could do is you could do copy that. Let's see here. That's 5. And now what you could do is you could do the same thing here. And probably. So this is not the ideal way at all, but just for what we're doing. Save it and see what it looks like. All right, so it's a little off for sure. Let's do this. All right, that's why we don't want to follow that off way. Huh. That's weird. Okay, so all right, so and then that one's going to be off. So it's still going to be out. Whatever. I'm not too concerned about it. This is like I said, we'll fix this up in the next video or next part of it. Anyways, not a big deal. So we just wanted something to be able to type something on here and do something with it. So right now our form looks good. We need to create something for the output. So let's do an output. And we want to then do something different. So we're gonna be able to copy and use some code here. So let's actually go to our index and we're going to copy this information here, and we're going to paste it here. Okay, and this is going to capture our values, input it on the form page. Okay, so let's move these guys in. So what it's going to do here is it's going to grab those variables and display them on a screen. Okay, so it's going to do the same thing that that query string did for us. So let's go back. We're going to use that index again. So this, we have a lot of reusable code. You know what? I realized I didn't have .html here. All right, so let's copy this output. And what we're doing here is providing all the same information. Now I called it winery name. Okay, that's fine. All right, so I'm just specifying. Oh no, that's fine. All right, so what's going to happen here is when this page captures these values, it's going to capture them in these IDs. These are IDs it's going to store, and then when it comes over to the output, it's going to grab those values, do a get, and we're going to take these variable names and echo them down here. It's going to do the same thing, but from a form standpoint. Okay, so like do it from here. So like before we did it up here in the URL, now we're going away from that. So we're going to say let's say Geneva, Ohio, and then wine type we'll say Pinot Grigio, and wine name we will say trying to think of a name. Jeez, I've been there so many times. I can't think of a water. Oh, you know what? South. What the hell is the name of the water? South something. Oh my God, it's a church. South something. How could I not? South River. Jeez. South River Vineyard. Perfect. And then I forgot to put a. Oh geez, I think I forgot to put a button. Ah, nice. I just realized I don't have a button here, so it's not going to work. I have the form. I just don't have a button. All right. So let's do this. What we could do here is, I think about is we could do right here we can do a label. Whoops. We could do a label. Oops. Yeah, label. And then we could do @MBSP. And then label. Now we can put, oops. Now we can put a button down here and say input type equals submit, and value equals submit. There we go. Perfect. All right, now we can probably get some stuff going here, so I have to refresh it again. Sorry. All right, so I'll say Geneva, Ohio. Wine type is Pinot Grigio, and then wine name is South River Vineyard. All right, perfect. Hit submit. Today it worked. So here's, you notice what happened here is it displayed information, and on top of that, and put it in the query string at the top. Now, you'll learn sometimes when you're writing code, sometimes you want to disable the query string for a variety of reasons. But for this part, just learning the PHP, it did everything for us, okay? This is gonna end this part of the video. The next part of the video is we're gonna get in and talk a little bit more about more information. The next one is gonna be similar to this, but we're gonna do a discount and we're gonna build a little program. It's gonna be more elaborate and we're gonna throw some CSS in there and all that stuff and make it look nice and neat moving forward. So thanks for watching. Questions, reach out.